Howdy! Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of How I Process My Life. I'm totally kidding, but honestly, am I? But yeah, I'm super excited to be hanging out with you guys. I hope you are doing amazing. And I'm actually really excited for this episode. Like, I'm a nostalgic type of person. Like, why do you think that I take so many photos of literally everything, even me drinking a smoothie? Like, I just love capturing moments, and I'm such a sentimental person like that. It's so annoying, but also at the same time, it's really nice to like look back at, memories and situations and like sort of reflect on it and see how far you've come. And yeah, like I'm just super excited for this episode. So I hope you guys enjoy. So last night, right, I decided, you know what, let me have a nice self-care little moment for myself, okay? I'm going to put on a face mask after I shower. I'm going to sit on the couch. I'm going to put on some reality TV and I'm just going to like chill out, okay? So I like put on this like hyaluronic mask that I really like to get. And, it's actually becoming summer now. So the nights are really warm, which is nice sometimes because it kind of reminds you that you're like on an island or something, but at the same time, it's also really uncomfortable. But anyways, I put the mask on, I chilled on the couch, and I'm not even kidding, but I felt like that mask was sticking to my face and just trying to give my skin as much moisture and hydration as possible. Okay, that is how dehydrated my skin has been lately. So if you ever feel like your skin needs a little bit of, tender loving care, definitely try a hyaluronic mask. It honestly sounds like my neighbors are having a rager right now, so please excuse if you do hear some noise. So I had an acting career. Okay, wait. Career sounds like a super strong word. I was an extra in a Sprite ad once, and I was the lead in a student film where I basically pretended to drive a car when I didn't even have my own license. But growing up, I was so sure and so passionate and like so interested in becoming an actress from like a really young age. Like I'm talking Oscars, red carpet, crying in the bathroom acceptance speech level, okay? Where you are like sitting with your people at a table read and you're like reading scripts at a coffee shop, all of that type of vibes. Like I was all for it. But I really thought that acting was it for me. Like that was like my big goal. Like I'd literally download like play scripts on the internet and then I would read them. Like Shakespearean plays, like Much Ado About Nothing was my vibe. Like I would literally download it and then I would go through it and pretend that I'm in this play and I'm researching. And honestly, like it was so fun. Like just being able to watch a movie and really look at like the different shots or how they edited something or the storyline and like understanding that and really studying those movies was so fun for me. Like trying to understand what made someone real on camera. And I just love the idea of stepping into different worlds and lives and feeling everything so deeply and like telling stories that made people feel something too. That was like the dream, okay? Not necessarily like the fame and like the red carpets and all of that, even though that stuff is like very glamorous and also really cool. But just sort of that feeling of connection and like storytelling really helped me just so much. Like I just gravitated towards that. But this episode isn't only going to be about like acting. It's also about what happens when you chase a dream with like your whole heart and like all of your energy and then you still have to like let it go. Maybe it is about like having that dream and realizing that it led you exactly where you were meant to go next. And I hope you guys enjoy. So as I mentioned, like ever since I was young, I've always really loved acting and I've always wanted to be an actress, right? And I love the glamour of Hollywood. Like I would buy every single magazine. I love pop culture. I knew what everyone was wearing, what designer. I would like watch New York Fashion Week. And it was just honestly a vibe. Like the whole glamour of Hollywood is so beautiful and like interesting to me. And I just really loved it. And I also grew up on Disney Channel. So like watching Hannah Montana and like Wizards of Waverly Place and like all of those types of shows, it sort of made you feel like anything was possible. It was just such like a fun thing as a kid, like to watch those shows and like pretend that you were those characters. And it kind of made you believe that if these people can do it, then so can I. And there was just something so beautiful about that spark that you have as a kid when you're watching something and you're connecting to it and you feel like anything is possible. And you have like that childlike wonder that makes you so delusional enough to like believe in yourself to a point of literally thinking that you could be that person and you could live out your dreams and all of that. So it was such a beautiful thing. Like who wasn't watching Disney Channel? Okay. It was literally amazing, and I've always been such a dreamer in life. I think I fell in love with storytelling before I even knew what storytelling was, whether that was movies or really cool music videos or magazines. It was all this world that made me believe that life could be cinematic. And then I remember in high school, like, I honestly did not enjoy my high school experience. I think the only part of my high school experience that I really enjoyed was probably meeting one of my really good friends that I'm still friends with now, Ferial. And then my last year of high school, when I literally was enjoying and living my best life, honestly, like going out, being social, having a great time. That was probably like the only time that I really enjoyed that whole experience. I hated school. I just never felt like I fit in anywhere, and it's such a lonely feeling. And yeah, like I just honestly did not feel like I fit in anywhere, and it sucked. And in general, like school is just, I'm not even talking about the learning thing because that's chilled, but it's just such an awkward time for a lot of people. I always like spoke to different types of people and like different groups, and I knew a lot of people, but I wasn't in a place where like I felt like I actually belong, and that was such an isolating feeling, not feeling like you actually fit in anywhere. And it's not really fun to go through high school like that. So when I decided to like actually try out for this play that was happening at school, it was a Shakespearean play. I'm trying to think which one it was. Was it like Macbeth or something? No, I think it was Romeo and Juliet, actually. Yes, I think it was. I decided to audition for, I think, The Mother. So I decided to audition and like just go for it. Okay, and I did. And I really wanted to give it a try, so I did. So I actually didn't get the part that I auditioned for, but I did get an opportunity to be one of the extras in the play. And this was like my first time actually being involved in like a school production that wasn't like compulsory. Like I was actually wanting to try this out. And it was honestly such a fun experience, just being able to meet different types of people, and like you're spending your weekends rehearsing and like being a part of a play with everyone. And it's such a cool experience. Like where else are you going to be engaging with people and like forming friendships and stuff? So that was a great opportunity. Okay. And also just to be a part of a play in general, it was like that first step for me to get into that world. And I remember expressing some like interest in drama and in like theater to the actual like casting director is what you would call it, but she was the drama teacher. Basically, she suggested that I come and join like her extra drama classes, which is like once a week. And I was like, yeah, sure, like why not? And every single, I think it was like on a Wednesday or something, but this was when I was 16, and I was so excited, and honestly became such a monumental time in my life because it really got me out of my shell. And then I also met a really great friend through that experience. Just being able to be around people that like you usually see in class, and now you see them in a totally different light because you're like acting and like having fun, and it was so cool. And literally going to drama every week was something that I look forward to so much. And I learned so much just about acting and about like improv and theater and all of that. And I just wanted more and more and more of it. And I remember that our group would literally perform for like Eisteddfods against like other schools, which is really cool. And I remember the one day we actually did an Eisteddfod at, I think it was like the Sea Point Hall or something, but it was so cool. Like you're with like your drama people. It's like the nighttime, you're performing. It's something that you guys prepared. It's like so cool. It was just such a vibe. And then I obviously had my friend Charlie, who became one of my really good friends at that time. And we always had such a good time together. Like he was honestly such a vibe, literally. So that whole experience for me was such a great moment because it sort of like reignited that feeling that I had when I was like much younger of wanting to be in the performing arts and actually being proud of it and just going for it instead of like worrying what people are going to think. And it was really nice to be a part of an environment where you could go every single week and sort of like just be yourself or like be someone else and have fun and be weird and do improv. Just like have a non-judgmental space where you can be free and have that creative outlet and be around people that get it and that also really respect the arts. And it was so fun. Like I finally found a place that I felt like I actually belonged. And I know that sounds so cheesy, but it's so true, honestly. This place felt like, oh my gosh, finally I have arrived. Like I'm around people that get it and I actually feel like I belong. There's like a real practical reason those first places of like being seen actually matter. They teach you what safety feels like when you are in a room where people laugh at your bad jokes and hand you a ridiculous costume and let you try on a voice without judgment. Your nervous system registers that as permission, and it learns that being loud and weird or emotionally messy is survivable, even welcomed. And that lesson isn't glamorous, but it's foundational. It quietly rewires how you move through risk later in life, whether you'll audition for something, say yes to a creative project, or say no to a thing that drains you. And drama club didn't just teach blocking and projection, it taught you that your presence could belong somewhere, and that is huge. Because of that, the part of me that was allowed to be expressive never really left me. It just sort of like got hidden under bills and routines and adult responsibilities. So I really wanted to get into a little story time about how I actually got into like the acting industry and like got a little bit of a taste of that. But basically, after school, I immediately got a job in a retail store. And then I decided, okay, cool, let me take some acting classes because you know, when you're like approaching the end of high school and everyone's thinking about, okay, cool, what am I going to go and study? What do I want to be? My first thing was I want to travel the world or I want to be an actress. Okay, how unrealistic was I? Clearly, okay, everyone else is thinking of all of these practical solutions and I'm thinking like the craziest thing. Look, what can I say? I've always been a dreamer, okay? And I've always chosen the unrealistic path for some reason. Immediately after school, I got a job and then I decided I'm going to try and give this acting thing a go, okay? And the best thing to do is try and improve my skills. So I started taking acting lessons and vocal lessons. And it was honestly so fun. It helped me to learn different techniques and it also gave me the confidence to do better as a public speaker and also be more social and be more confident in myself. So that was a great whole experience, okay? And I was doing this while I was working my normal retail job. And then I decided, okay, cool. The next step for me is, then the next thing was I really wanted to try and find like an agency to join so that I could start getting some work and start getting some experience. And I started looking online and I found this extra agency. So I signed up and I remember being a part of like this Sprite ad that was filmed somewhere in Cape Town. And it was honestly so fun. It was like a random party scene. So I was like one of the extras alongside multiple people that were there. But it was so cool. It was like supposed to be like some party scene or at like a festival vibe, but it was actually filmed in a building. I'm not even kidding. But that was so cool. And the thing is, a lot of people don't understand the unglamorous side of, you know, trying to make it or trying to be in that whole industry. It's a lot of long hours, a lot of waiting around, especially if you aren't the first person on the call sheet. You are just another person that's there. To be honest, you don't really matter. And it's just like, it's such a reality check and it's such a humbling experience because you're sitting around literally waiting for hours until it's like your turn to do your thing. So it taught me a lot about patience, I'm not gonna lie. And then I got something else. So I can't exactly remember if it was an advert. I think it was for a movie that was being filmed here in Cape Town. I remember going to this location in town or something, and I had to wear like a green jumpsuit or something that they provided. So I basically just tried to be polite and friendly and on time and try to be friends with the wardrobe lady. It was honestly such a fun experience. Like I got to meet a lot of people on set and there was like that craft service table that everyone likes to talk about. And it was just so cool. Like you get to have like coffee and then there's food for you. And it is a lot of like waiting around and just waiting for your turn and just trying to be polite and professional, because obviously that speaks volumes regardless of whether you are like the lead or like just an extra. So just being around those people and like taking note of how the whole production works and like what everyone's roles are and all of that, it's just really interesting. And I'm such a nerd when it comes to film because I really want to know like all of the crew and like what they do and how to film it, and it's just all of those things that I'm so like interested about. That's so fascinating to me. So that whole experience was really cool. So while I'm working my normal retail job, okay, I decide that let me look on Facebook or something and see if I'm able to maybe see like if they're doing like open castings or something, or if anyone needs like an actor for a film or a play or whatever. And I end up seeing like this ad or something. I don't really use Facebook anymore, so I do not know the terminology. So basically it was like an ad and it had all of the different characters for like the film that they were doing, and it was basically these film students and it was like a project that they had to do. So I auditioned for the role of like the mother and was one of the leads, and I actually ended up getting it. And guys, I'm not even kidding. I know it sounds so crazy because it was just a student film, but this is exactly the type of experience that I really wanted, because so far I've been doing just extra work, and that is amazing. Like, it's really good to be on set and see how everything works, but actually being one of the leads in a film is just such a cool experience, because now I get even more experience into that world. So a few of their scenes were actually at their campus, like outside, and this is where I basically had to drive a car. I did not even have my license yet, okay? And they literally like, can you drive a car? I'm like, no, I did not even have my license. But anyways, we made it work. And that is the beauty of, movie making, okay? Sometimes things aren't real. So anyways, I get into this guy's car and I'm like pretending to drive, and they're like filming me. And this is like a full-on production. Like, the cameras are there, they have an AD, they have the director. It's just so cool. And then I remember they rented like a house or something, and we ended up filming a few of the scenes in there, and it was so cool. Like, it was such a cool experience. A few years later, I decided that I really wanted to try and get an actual agent, because I felt like I was ready to try and get more lead type of roles and like try and get more of my feet in the water. And I wanted to get an actual agent that would help me to get to like the next level and the next step. So I ended up researching a few agencies because I really wanted to know how to get an actual agent, because those are the people that are going to get you into the right rooms. They're going to get you the right opportunities. I honestly do not know how I got this meeting, but my motto in life is just shoot your shot, because you'll never know. And if you look ridiculous and someone says no, then you just move on. So the thing is, that's another great reason why I love acting so much, is because you get a lot of no's, you get a lot of rejection, and you don't always hear what you want to hear, and you have to be okay with that. So I was just going for it, and I ended up getting a meeting with these two guys that have been in the industry for so long. One of the guys was a casting director for years. The other guy was this English guy that has also been in the film industry for a really long time. So they know what to do and like how to get you where you want to go. So they basically like formed their own agency, and it was so cool meeting them. And then I eventually got to take some headshots for the first time ever, professional headshots. And the thing is, I sound so naive right now, because why didn't I know that you need professional headshots from the beginning? Honestly, I think that I have taken them before, but not like this. Like, I literally had to go to this like guy's house. It was like this professional photographer that they always use for all of their the clients, and he took some really great photos. So I got to use that. They put me on their website. I became one of their clients, and it was so cool. So I started finally getting some opportunities. It was really cool to finally get to a place where, okay, cool, like I feel like things are starting to turn around. It's not like something major or whatever, but I was finally getting to that next step. Like, I finally had an agent. I finally had this opportunity where I was working with these people that had all of this experience and had these connections. And it's like so crazy to think back, because I remember taking a lot of bus rides just to get to a certain location, or to go to like that other agency that I was with just to take some photos and to update my profile. And I would take the bus for a while, okay? So being able to look at that and then now where I was just absolutely insane. And I was so grateful, and it finally felt like I was getting to that next stage. So as soon as I joined their agency and I was finally getting things that actually had some substance, like I was submitting self-casting tapes, I eventually got some auditions. So these were more for like adverts. There was this one Heineken advert that I went for, and I literally get there and it's like tons of people. Like, you literally get like a time and the date and the location, and you have to be there, and that is your slot. And when you walk in, there's literally so many people that are waiting for their turn. And it's such an intimidating thing, because half of those people literally look like models. Everyone is good looking. Everyone wants the spot. It's such a competitive industry in that way, because there's so many people who want the same thing that you do, and like what really sets you apart. And that's the type of stuff that would always run through my mind, but I was just going to go for it anyways. So it was just a great experience. And I remember getting into the audition room, and auditioning is so scary, honestly. It's so intimidating, and like everyone's nice, but it's very intimidating. But basically they give you like this prop beer bottle thing, and it has like water in, which is honestly so gross. Like, I do not like sharing bottles and stuff that like I do not know whose mouth was on there. Okay, But I had to just go for it. So you basically had to like take the beer bottle, pretend you're sipping from it, and look like you're enjoying the beer. And it's like Heineken beer, which is, I love Heineken. But that was like the whole auditioning thing, and it was so cool. Like you have to do a few takes, and it just basically looked like you're having the best time ever and enjoying the beer and like really selling it. So those were like really cool moments that I look back on. And even though auditions were super scary, it was really nice to finally get an actual opportunity where it wasn't just an extra role. Like I was going for auditions, I was going for self-casting tapes, I was being around people that had the same dream and had the same passion and really wanted it and were going for it. Eventually though, things sort of like became really frustrating because I wanted this so badly. Like I really wanted this as like a full-on career, and like it was like my dream since being very young. But I also had to now be more practical. I'm an adult, I have to support myself, and I did learn to juggle auditions between like my shifts at work. But then I had to start declining opportunities because they would clash with my job. And I obviously needed to get a paycheck to survive. So to sort of explain that to agents, that you can't drop everything when a role is like across town at 9 a.m. and you need to go to an audition. Obviously, I get it. Like they're going to be frustrated because they also need to make money. So the fact that you can't be committed to it and, you know, be able to be accommodating in that way, it does build tension. People do get annoyed. And I really was craving just focusing on my craft and like wanting to be in this world, but also needing stability. It was such a sad thing for me to like come to terms with. It isn't dramatic, it's daily. It's the small accumulating decisions where your inner kid is shouting, keep going. And then your practical adult voice is whispering, we have bills to pay. You have to eat. You have to survive. And I think that's like the weirdest heartbreak, when your passion doesn't fit into your reality, when you have to make grown-up choices while your inner kid is like, wait, what happened to the dream? And that ache that is there because you know that you're not a quitter and like you don't want to give up. But the thing is, two truths are true at once, and you do love the work, but survival requires compromise, and navigating that space does teach you hard lessons about persistence. So eventually reality started to weigh in. I had this like really solid corporate job now, and I had reliable hours, I had a paycheck that I counted on, and suddenly the flexibility that I needed to chase auditions wasn't there anymore. Like I honestly could not move my shift. So I had to sort of pick between the two, and I needed to really come to terms with that. And I did struggle to juggle both, submitting self-tapes on my off days, turning down auditions that would clash with my work schedule, rushing to get photos done. But like slowly I realized that the tension wasn't just exhausting, it was unsustainable. And that's when I sort of had to make the choice, keep chasing something that my life setup couldn't fully support, or accept that maybe this dream would look different than I actually imagined. And here's the thing, accepting wasn't about failing. It wasn't about just quitting. It was about understanding that you can love something deeply without needing it to define you, without it being your whole identity. And I didn't stop being that girl who loved acting, who loved storytelling, who loved the magic of like being on set and being around creative people. I just had to find a new way to live that part of myself. And I'm not someone that gives up very easily, okay? Sometimes I get down and I'll cry for a little bit, but the next day I'm back up again. I'm a very persistent person. Sometimes it's annoying. Sometimes it's a really good thing to not give up very easily. And there was this reflection that hit me where I sort of had to pivot and realize that I needed to now evolve my dream. So eventually I found a creative outlet elsewhere, okay, in a space that I could fully control, my YouTube channel. And I remember speaking to my dad about it and just being really upset because this was something that is like my lifelong dream, was to be in the film industry, whether it was as an actress or as a director or a writer or whatever. I just wanted to be in that industry. I loved the business. I loved the creative outlet. But I remember him telling me when I started my YouTube channel that this is your acting, okay? Enjoy it. Like, this is you acting. And those words changed everything for me. It wasn't about proving that I could make it in Hollywood. It was about giving myself permission to still create, to still perform, to still embody the parts of me that loved acting, but on my own terms. And it took me a while to really see that, but maybe I didn't actually give up on acting at all. maybe I just found another stage, you know, one that fits my life and my pace and my version of fulfillment. And honestly, that's a victory in itself. And I love YouTube. Okay, I spoke about this in one of my episodes a year ago or something, but YouTube literally saved my life. I'm not even kidding. It's been such a great outlet for me. I honestly could care less what people think. I just love making videos and I love taking pictures and I love creating things that I can look back on and be really proud and like remember really special moments in my life. There's just something so beautiful about art, you know? Looking back, there's so much this journey has taught me. Lessons that only come when you chase something wholeheartedly and then have to let it shift into a totally new form. First, I learned that dreams aren't one size fits all, and failing to fit into the traditional version of your dream doesn't mean that you failed as a person. There is so much pressure to make your passion into a huge career or a measurable success, but sometimes the point is the experience itself, the curiosity, the creativity, the moments that make you feel alive. And I also realized the importance of resilience, not just in auditioning or being rejected, but in navigating your own expectations. I had to confront the disappointment of wanting something so badly while also understanding my limitations and the practicalities of life. And that tension between passion and reality isn't a weakness. It's part of learning how to prioritize what actually sustains you while still holding on to the parts of yourself that matter most. And another really big takeaway that I really want to share with you guys is that creativity can live absolutely anywhere. It doesn't have to be confined to one stage or one role or one path. Finding a new outlet in YouTube reminded me that the act of creating and expressing myself is what really mattered, not the external validation of having like prestige or whatever. And finally, I learned that letting go doesn't erase the dream. It sort of like reshapes it, if that makes sense. It doesn't just go away. It just moved into a space that fits my life now. And that sort of taught me that success isn't always about making it in the way that you imagine, but about staying loyal to the parts of yourself that you love and like finding ways to express them no matter the stage. Oh my gosh, that was honestly so deep, but it's such a great thing to be able to look back on experiences and not be so hard on yourself and call yourself a failure, okay? Because every experience in life, and I know this sounds super cheesy, but it is so true, so please remember this. Every experience in life and every failure in life is a beautiful learning experience. It allows you to get back up again and try again, and now you have some wisdom from that. So here's the thing, my so-called failed acting career wasn't really a failure at all. It was me chasing a dream with my whole heart, learning what I loved and discovering the parts of myself that I wanted to nurture. And the beauty of it is just going for it, like really going for it. And that taught me more than any success could ever have. And I learned how to put myself out there and how to handle rejection and how to find joy in creating and how to stay true to the parts of me that make me feel really good when I'm doing something that I actually really love. And even though I didn't end up pursuing acting full time or becoming like a Hollywood actress, that spark doesn't just go away. I just sort of redirected it. It's in every video that I make, every blog post that I write, every poem that I do, every podcast episode. That creative fire is still alive. It just lives in a different form. So if you are chasing a dream right now, even if it feels impossible, unrealistic, or scary, literally go for it. I'm so grateful that I know I gave my all to a dream that I had. Now it just lives in my life in a different form. I definitely went out there and I tried. Okay, I did not care what anybody thought. I did not care about hearing the word no. I kept on and I kept on and I kept on trying. And I can look back and be so proud of myself because I actually put myself out there and I gave it a go. I gave it my all. I tried. I can say that I gave it everything that I could. So try everything that you can and know that the journey itself is a victory. The fact that you're going out there and trying to achieve your goal is a beautiful thing. And the goal isn't always about the outcome that you imagine. Sometimes it is discovering who you are in the process. Art is such a great way to sort of take you out of your negative headspace or your chaotic life for a second. Like you can literally lay on the couch and you can put on a really good high budget movie or actually any really good movie, and you're able to step into that world for a second and you're able to sort of gain a new perspective or feel a little bit better about yourself, you may watch something and it's so good and it like really ignites like a fire in you or like changes your life in some poetic way. You're not behind, you're not failing, you're just in a rewrite era. So if you love this little story time, you can catch more of my thoughts and all of my creative chaos over on my blog, The Ward Method, where I write about life and wellness and self-growth. And I also share more of my world on my YouTube channel and of course, my podcast, where we like to get real about the messy, fun, and sometimes confusing journey of growing into yourself. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. I love hanging out with you and I hope you have an amazing week, okay? I love you. Bye.